Did you know that if your loved one's income is just $1 over Florida Medicaid's income limit, then your loved one could be denied long-term care coverage? I'm Kellen Bryant, Florida Bar Board Certified Elder Law Attorney. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a qualified income trust so that your loved one does not become ineligible for Medicaid benefits. So stick with me to avoid costly mistakes and make sure you understand the trust and it's set up the right way. Let's get started. First off, we're going to figure out what is the Medicaid income limit. So in 2025, you can Google this, Medicaid income limit for state of Florida is going to be $2,901. That means the Medicaid applicant can't have more than $2,901 of gross income, or else he or she cannot become Medicaid eligible. So the first thing we need to do when we think about QITs is whether one is needed. And to determine that, we need to know what the gross income is. So there's going to be net income and there's going to be gross income. Like I mentioned, net income is typically found on a bank statement. And that's what you'll say to me when we have this discussion. Gross income is found on a proof of income statement, or you can call it an income verification statement. Proof of income statement is about future income. It is not a 1099. 1099 is proof of past income. You get proof of income statement is relating to the future. So 2025, the income statement for 2025 would have come in November 2024 to January 2025 in the mail. And what the gross income statement will show is gross payments. So if it's, in my example, $1,600, it'll say gross. And then if it's Social Security statement, it'll say Part B. So it'll be less, one's 100 and so call it 170. There could be a Part D deduction, less, call it 50. And then there could be tax withholding, the federal income tax withholding. And that can be $100. And so ultimately the money in my example that could be paid out would be somewhere around call it 13.7, it's 13.30. And that is net. And when you look on the bank statement every month, you're going to see a charge for Social Security for $13.30, and you can make fun of my math if I mess that up. And Medicaid is not looking at the bank statement. They want you to have and produce this gross income statement to show proof of income. So I just depicted the income statement for the Social Security, but you can also would have to usually order this custom for any kind of pension if you don't get an income stub. And then any kind of cost of living increase that comes up every year for federal military or OPM, those come out getting you for any kind of cost of living increase. Now, but now before we go into the trust, let's talk about some of the rules about trust and just basically go through some of this terminology. So what this trust is, it's a legal doc. And the title of it is called a qualified income trust. And the output is going to be a signed legal doc by the Medicaid applicant. And the Medicaid applicant in trust law is called the grantor. That's the Medicaid applicant person. And what in this document will say grantor names trustee is the person who manages. The trustee can be anyone but the Medicaid applicant. So it can be the daughter, the son, the dutiful family member, it can be the nursing home, although I typically don't recommend it. Be the attorney, although I typically don't recommend it. It could be a professional fiduciary. That's who would control the trust document. And what they do is they control outbound payments. Once money goes in this trust, the trustee controls outbound payments. And there's two phases: life of grantor, then the money can go for medical expense. And then there's death, I'll say at death of grantor or the Medicaid applicant. And then it goes to the state of Florida. And this document, how I've set it up, must be presented to Department of Children and Families as part of a Medicaid application. And if it's not done correctly, I would prefer two witnesses on it, signed by grantor, then the case will get denied. And the signed by grantor sometimes is tricky because sometimes the grantor can't sign. If the grantor cannot sign because they don't know what their name is, you have to have a durable power of attorney with after 2011, October, initial next to create a trust. So the durable power of attorney document must have initials, your mine, that says create a trust. And if you got your durable power of attorney form by going online, then what you will find is you might find out the language isn't there. Number 2 is a guardianship. So you're never stuck on this. You can't get Medicaid without, if you're over the income limit, you can't get Medicaid without a qualified income trust. And if you don't have a properly worded power of attorney, then you're looking at a guardianship that'll run you about $10,000 to $20,000. Lots of hassle, lots of stress. So the person who signs the power of attorney, the person who signs the qualified income trust must have legal authority to sign. In the case of a married couple, this is weird, but married spouses can sign a qualified income trust on behalf of the other spouse. So assuming this is properly worded and properly executed, then you can take this trust document and create a bank account. And I said the word bank account. I didn't say credit union account because this is, I forgot to mention, this document is irrevocable. If it's not irrevocable, it doesn't work for Medicaid. So it's good. So credit unions typically don't set up irrevocable bank accounts. So it's going to be set up as a checking, and it's going to be called a qualified income trust bank account. Person with authorities follow the trustee. That's who can sign checks and transfer money out. Now, how do we put money in the trust, or what do you put money in the trust? What I haven't gone through yet is figuring out how much money to put into trust. Going in here in our main bank account, we're going to have income deposits. We're going to have something from Social Security. And in my example, we called it $1,600, call it gross. And then we're going to have a pension. We're going to call it $1,302. If that's all we have, $1,600 plus $1,302, then the total gross income is $1. So if we have an income limit, $2,901, we are $1 over. And if you don't create this qualified income trust bank account and document, you will not get Medicaid for your loved one, just being $1 over. Now, this gets a little tricky when we have more deposits of income, like from IRA, and we'll put rental income, we'll put a pension number 2. This can get complicated depending on how many sources of income somebody has. So this is the main checking account where all these deposits come in recurring. So income is recurring. So that is our main checking account. So we have our main checking account that's getting our 2 payments totaling $29.02. And because we're over the income limit by $1, what we have to put in is at least $2 into the qualified income trust account. So that's unfortunate in this scenario. I've seen things very close like this, and it's the difference between getting Medicaid or not getting. So in order to get Medicaid, you need to put $2 into this qualified income trust each and every month. Those 2 deposits come in. In my scenario, $1,600 and $1,302. Those are coming in monthly, recurring. Okay. So we must make this $2 transfer at least monthly, recurring. So once it goes in the QIT, just a reminder, we'll go 2 spots, medical expenses and then state of Florida. So our medical expense is going to be the nursing, and that's going to get the minimum $2. Now, the payment from the nursing home is owed to the nursing home if Medicaid approved and eligible. The state of Florida is going to tell you what to pay to the nursing home. And if it's a single person, in my example, it's going to, and there's no other insurance, it's going to be somewhere around 17, I can't do math, 38, I think. So that, or excuse me, not 17, 2738. So the total, so they were going to want 2738, and it's a math problem that's basically gross income minus 160 minus health insurance premium. And then that's what you paid in nursing home payment owed, called patient liability. So the complicated portion of all this is if the nursing home bill is 2637, something like that. What we're going to do is going to pay them, instead of $2, we can pay them up to that $2,700 if we want, the $2,700. Now, if you don't, and you can instead put more money in the QIT. So what's confusing to a lot of people is you can send $2,700 to the QIT and then send $2,700 to the nursing home. So it's step 1 and then step 2, or you can do the $2 here, $2 there, and then do the remaining $26.98 that way, which is clunky and redundant. So you have those parameters that you can operate with under this qualified income trust. Now, again, the money must go in each and every month recurring. This is the qualification requirement. If you don't do this, you'll have to private pay if you made a mistake and it's caught. Now, if you don't make the outbound payment and your loved one dies, the money is going to go to the state of Florida. So ideally, you leave the bank account at $0 at the end of each month. The person who is trustee by the way, ideally will also have control over the bank account here. This is the primary checking. And so the trustee, the best candidates for trustee and qualified income trust are the joint owner of the checking account or the person with POA over the checking account, so that they can institute the transfer into the QIT each month. So that's the QIT in a nutshell. And if you don't use the money, it's going to the state of Florida. So make sure you do it right. All right. Now that you've seen me go over the process with qualified income trust, let me share with you the biggest mistakes that I see so you don't make those mistakes. First of all, first most big mistake is figuring out whether or not you need this and getting those income statements. Most people throw away the income statements as soon as they come in the mail. They think it's junk mail. And so you're going to have to find those. And if you can't find them, you can't make a good classification. My recommendation is to order them as soon as you need them. And if you're going for Medicaid recertification, always save them. So the Social Security income statement usually comes in December. Same with any kind of federal increases due to cost of living increases. Now, what works for most pensions is if there is a stub that comes with the payment, and sometimes those are cost of living increases as well. Now, for things like IRAs, you may have to call the IRA custodian or the annuity company and ask for proof of future income. And what you're generally asking for is proof of income or income verification statement. So we have to have those things in place to know if you even need to do a QIT. Next problem is that I commonly see is not moving money that's associated with income from the checking where it's deposited into the qualified income trust account each and every month. I said each and every month, meaning, oh, I forgot this month. Let me do 2 this month to catch up. No, the Medicaid income limit is a month-to-month qualification determination. So if you didn't put the money you had to put in the qualified income trust this month, then you did not meet the Medicaid eligibility requirement. So that's the next mistake that I see. The third mistake I see is getting confused because it's all overwhelming. Because mom has one income going into this credit union, another source of income going to that credit union. There's an IRA, there's a rental property. You got way too much going on. And so you're unable to have a consolidated, streamlined path where income can move and flow. And that's what creates a lot of mistakes, confusion, stress, anxiety. Everything must be streamlined. And sometimes when you do it, when you have to pull money from different sources, you're trying to figure out, did I put enough in? Did I put too much in? Did I put the right amount in? And so having it all streamlined is best, because if you don't put enough money in the QIT, you don't meet the income requirements. If you put more than your income in there, Medicaid will call that a transfer or problem, because you're not depositing income into it, you're depositing assets in that situation. So that's the next mistake. The fourth mistake I see is not following the Medicaid reporting rules. So there's an annual recertification for Medicaid, and a lot of people don't save their statements and don't do the qualified income trust funding each and every month. So we have this nice video that I've made and hopefully walked through the process. But the fifth mistake that I see is that people underestimate the difficulty and complexity of doing this right each and every month and executing this whole process. Basically, I'll find people that they will go to a source to grab the qualified income trust document. They find it, they download it, but they don't know how to set up the bank account. They don't know how to move money. They do it, they create the account, and then they forget about it, or they create it too early and forget about it, or they go to an attorney that does not do Medicaid, and that attorney just pulls a form online, doesn't know what they're looking at. They're very inefficient. They don't know how to explain everything that you need to do. It's just a mess. You're all confused and you can't do it right. And the consequence is not getting Medicaid each and every month. So that's the last mistake. So if you're looking for help with a qualified income trust, you do need to go to an elder law attorney through the state of Florida. Some states, it's not commonplace to go to an elder law attorney. The nursing homes do it. But in Florida, what I'll see is if there's going to be a problem with the case, that's one of the favorite go-tos the caseworkers go into is you didn't do something right with the qualified income trust, or the qualified income trust wasn't done right. So if you're looking for help, you can call an elder law attorney near you, or if you're well-versed in technology, we can help with a qualified income trust. The way we work in our office, we do actually look at the broader view to see if we're gonna meet other eligibility requirements, not just the qualified income trust. So if you're interested in working with us, your loved ones in the state of Florida, you can call the office. We'll set you up with doing a free call with somebody from my team to figure out if we're the right fit. If not, we'll refer you out to a different provider. and we'll see if we can work together. And a good way to prepare for any elder law attorneys to grab those income statements that I mentioned, not just the bank statements. You should provide bank statements and make sure you have a good power of attorney in place. You can watch any other videos about power of attorneys that I've made. I just recently put out one, so go check it out. Thanks.